Hey there, it's Juju, and it's day 109. So today I thought I'd do a quick talk about the news and the way the news affects us, both physically and in our worldview. So this is based on two recent podcasts I listened to that were really interesting. One is On Being with Krista Tippett, and the episode was with David Bornstein. And in that episode, he analyzes, the basic tenets of journalism going back to the Watergate era and how, as journalists, you were supposed to find things that were wrong and shed light on them and tell the story so that they could be corrected. But that now that we're in a 24-hour news cycle, all of this, we're constantly bombarded with this, all of the negativity. And he gave the example of he would go to journalists and he would say, there's two schools. One school had an 80% graduation rate and it has dropped to 50% very rapidly. Another school had a 50% graduation rate and has now increased it to 80%. Which one is the story? And inevitably, the journalists would choose the story, the negative story of the failure rather than focusing on the success, because they felt that if they focused on that their job is not to burnish a school's reputation. So that would be biased if you're lifting up or, telling someone, showing what someone is doing that actually works. And when you think about that, so they would focus on what's wrong. And that is what's constantly bombarding us. And I think that this is across all media, both left and right. So I thought that that was really interesting. The other point is that we have taken our institutions for granted. So you're not always hearing stories about the great job that, government agencies are doing. You hear a lot, especially on right-wing media, they attack institutions such as the government, saying that it's all inefficient, there's nothing but waste. And there certainly is waste and inefficiency in the government, but they also do a lot of good that ensures we have clean water and that we have air to breathe, that, cancer, the medical research, regulation, on the right, regulation is seen as a bad thing, that it's stopping business. Well, business is out to make money, not to be concerned about the negative effect it's having on people with pollution and environmental issues. So that was easy. So that was interesting. So again, that was On Being with, oh no, oh, it scared me. On Being with Krista Tippett, David Bornstein, I believe. The other podcast that someone shared with me is On the Media. And this is not a podcast I usually listen to, but the episode is, I forget the name of the hosts, but they go into the Magaverse. And so the two hosts listen to 12 hours of right-wing media, both podcasts, Fox News, other news stations, Newsmax. And it's very interesting to hear their analysis. Now, studies have shown, and they, I think both of the podcasts have shown, that if you watch Fox News, you are going to have a worldview that is more fearful. You're going to be angrier. You're going to have a us versus them, own the libtards. And you're going to be more susceptible to misinformation. You're going to be more willing to believe that, the election was stolen when it actually was not. So I thought that that was really interesting, and I did some fact checking, and I encourage you to, anything, that I say, please fact check it. And if you find credible sources that, that say something else, I'd be interested. And then I, fact checked. I was using ChatGPT, which I know there's some interesting stuff going on with ChatGPT. But then I asked about liberal. What if it happens if you're reading left-wing media, if that's what you're consuming. And it said that the first thing it said that is if you, this really made me laugh. If you consume left wing media, you may be more have more stress on empathy and caring for people and for institutions, and also to find your own self confirmation bias, where you're going to look for things that are confirm what you believe. But I thought it was really interesting. Okay, do I want to be fearful, angry with an us and them and this worldview that, you know, that you know, to me promotes hate and dissatisfaction? Or do I want to have a view that, you know, is empathetic and has more concerns for justice and taking care of the vulnerable in society? So, I mean, we all get to choose. So, but the other point is it's 24 hours. It's on our phones all the time. And so just the need, I struggle, as I'm sure a lot of you do. How do I get the news I need to know what's going on without this just wash of, you know, over information that is not true, and especially in this administration, just outrage after outrage and just kind of throwing everything to see what's going to stick. So for my, you know, I limit the media, and then I spend time out here in nature, and with loved ones and with friends, and really being present in my own life and doing what I can, including making these videos, to add more to the world, and hopefully some joy and light, just a perspective, something to investigate, curiosity. Who knows? Anyway, this is Juju, unfiltered, unedited, unscripted. Lead with love.